right, next we are joined by Erik Jones, a local from Byron, Michigan, drives the number 43 Dollar Tree Toyota, and we will go straight to media questions. Please raise your hand if you have a question for Erik. Tyler, Bob.
Erik, Tyler Kuehl, MLive. Just kind of talked with Chris Buescher about this as well. It's another weekend at MIS with a lot of precipitation in the forecast here. As a driver yourself and obviously Michigan native, how are you kind of preparing for this race with the unpredictability of when this race starts and when it finishes?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bummer. I've been up here since Tuesday, and the weather's been great till I think yesterday morning. So, yeah, it's tough. You know, going through today, I feel like we're probably going to get practice in. I'm not sure about qualifying. It's just so hit or miss. And then I think tomorrow is going to be similar, just really hit or miss. But it's just challenging from the sense of you don't know what the track's going to do. And, I mean, really in yourself, too, getting ready to go and being on the track and knowing what's going on. It's just a hassle. It's a hassle for everybody, for us, for the fans. I feel like we get a good crowd here, right? And in the last couple of years, rain has just torn that up. So, yeah, it's a bummer, and it definitely makes it challenging. I would love just one good, nice 78-degree sunny day like we, have here a lot of the summer would be nice.
Bob Hawkers, Fox Sports. If NASCAR had not done anything to Austin Dillon, would you have been willing to do what he did to make the playoffs?
No. No, not a chance. Yeah, I don't race that way, so wouldn't have done it. I don't know. I can probably count on. I honestly don't know. Maybe less than 5 times I've ever wrecked someone intentionally in my entire career. So, just not the way I race. And everybody's got a different code, right? Everybody's got different ways they go about it, and for me, that's just not the way I've raced.
So your team was like, come back and say, well, you got to do it, not say got to do it, like you'd be willing to risk theoretically a job or something by not doing that.
Yeah, I don't think I could. I really don't think I could do that. Yeah, I mean, it's not to say things change in the moment, right? I mean, and how you get raced before that changes things, right? Obviously that wasn't the situation, but it depends on what's going down. But yeah, it's really not in my playbook.
Dustin, right here.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. You've raced at lower levels at different times and go back down to the late models and stuff. When the bumping and beating and things like that happened, and even though NASCAR reacted in this case, how do you see that filter down, and how have you seen that filter down through the years?
It's funny you asked that question. I was doing some media calls earlier this week, and that exact topic kind of inadvertently came up. I guess I was discussing a little bit about it and mentioned that, whether we like it or not, it is a trickle-down effect. What we do on Sundays trickles down not just to Xfinity and trucks and ARCA. It trickles down to, late models, street stocks, front-wheel drives, quarter midgets, go-karts, right? I mean, all these guys and kids watch what we do on Sunday and think what we do is right, right? And so I think racing has changed a lot since 2009 was the first year I raced a full-size car, and I can vividly remember my dad and I talking about, look, just this year's about earning respect. Like, do not be out there running into people. Like, it's just not what we're doing. I mean, you got to give these guys respect, earn their respect, and then, when we get to that point, we'll go race. And that's how we did things. And, things have changed a lot. Racing has got way more aggressive for a lot of different reasons. Cars, and it's hard to pass and everything else. But, I have seen it. I was watching the cars race last night at Ace, and those guys could barely go more than 10 laps without a yellow coming out. Somebody's spinning somebody's wrecking somebody. And it's not what I enjoy in racing. I mean, some bumping and banging is fine. I don't have a problem with that. I've for sure moved a guy up out of the way for a win, right? I mean, everybody has, I think, that's won a race at some point. But I think there is a line there, and you know, wrecking cars and taking stuff out. I mean, it's, you know, become more and more acceptable. It just wasn't really an option when I was younger. You know, we couldn't we just couldn't rebuild cars over and over. So I think things have changed in that aspect, but it definitely is a trickle down effect.
5 of the last 7 races at Daytona have been won by drivers who have yet to secure a playoff spot. Obviously, we know the unpredictability. I know you've won there back in the past. What kind of an opportunity, but also what kind of a challenge is it to try to win your way in if you don't do it this week or something?
It's equal parts both. It is, yeah, definitely an opportunity. You know, there's no reason we don't go to Daytona with a chance to win for sure. How hard is it to take advantage of that opportunity? It's pretty tough. That race is probably more challenging than any of them. So, you know, I think it's good working with TRD, you know, having a kind of a smaller pack, right? We've got 4, 6, 8 cars, and that's kind of easy to work with as far as pit road. Obviously, Talladega, we didn't make it look that easy at one point, but we had a good plan going. So, you know, I think that helps out a lot of it in playoff racing for me. And the way I look at it is that it's kind of life too, in a way, right? You get some of your good and bad luck chips, right? And you got to draw each one a little bit. And super speedway racing is just that. You're going to keep drawing those bad numbers, right? No matter how good you run, how good of a spot you're in. And you just hope at one point you're going to draw that right card and be in the right spot and make the right move. And so some of that's on yourself and what you do as a driver and how fast your car is. But, you know, you do have to have a lot of things go your way to win one of those two.
Hey, Eric, Brandon Crowd, Lap Traffic Podcast. Can you talk about how special it was to be able to have the announcement of your contract extension coming out as you come to your home track, friends, family? Did you get to do anything early, get into town, Woodward Dream Cruise, anything like that?
Yeah, it was nice. I mean, we got it done, you know, just obviously recently, and then announced it here Michigan Week. So was happy to get it done. It was a pretty easy negotiation, really. You know, I think Legacy was wanting me back, and I was wanting to go back, and so things went really smooth and really quick. I spent my 2 weeks off up here, so I got to do quite a bit. I went up to the UP and spent a weekend up there with some family, and then chilled out at home at Byron. We've been up here since Tuesday night. No dream cruise for me. It's pretty busy down there, but I did get to hit some local spots around home that I like to go. So it's always nice just to spend time here when we can, see friends, see family, and do some things that we all like to do.
Roy.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, Eric, Skyview Sports, I'm Roy Akers. You talked about it was pretty easy negotiation. Did you have to do any silly season dance with other teams? Did the team encourage you on that? Or did you just know this is where you wanted to be and it was just a matter of putting together the numbers and the timing?
I think you always take a look when the time comes around. I wouldn't say there was any there was no advanced discussions, and the team encouraged that. They knew the whole time, you know, where I was at and what I was interested in doing. But we pretty quickly came to the point of redoing a deal with Legacy. For me, looking at the landscape and where everything was at, what was possibly available, and what other opportunities were out there, none of them were you know, enticing enough for me to want to make a move. It's a challenge to make a move, right? It's a big move to switch teams no matter what you're doing. And for me, unless it was going to be some, you know, huge leap to a currently race winning championship contending team, I just wasn't interested. So, you know, I think we're building there right now with Legacy, and that's some time away right now. But unless that was an instant move I could make, I wasn't interested in changing.
Just one quick follow-up. What is the one? Thank you. What is the one thing you saw about Legacy Motorsports and said, you know what? We're kind of there, but I see it. I see that we're going to be there pretty soon, and I want to be a part of it.
Well, you know, kind of getting to an important part of my career, I feel like, you know, the next stretch of my career, the next 10 years are what are probably going to be some of my best, I would like to think. And I hope that I'm, you know, in equipment that's good enough to take advantage of it. You know, I want to, there's a lot that I still want to do in the Cup Series and a lot of goals I have. And so, you know, looking at the landscape of legacy, we've obviously made the move to Toyota this year, and that's been a challenge. It's been a big undertaking for us, but, you know, we've recently taken on more and more people to kind of bridge that gap and continue to grow that and figure out how we're going to make ourselves, you know, a race winning team. So it's been a lot of motion, right? I mean, I came to the 43 and it was definitely not a race winning team. And then we got back to a race winning team. And then now we're kind of back in ebb and flow again, not where we want to be. So, but right now, regardless of what the results are showing, I would say we're probably in a better spot for the future than what it's really ever been since I've been in the 43 car.
All right, we have time for 3 more. We'll go Steve, Lee in the back, and then back up here to Jerry.
Steve Schweitzer with the Let's Go Press. Eric, congratulations on the new contract, by the way. During your discussions with Jimmy, was it discussed the level that you're at right now? I mean, it hasn't been a great year. I mean, did you guys talk about what the future holds and what he plans on, the changes he plans on making to get you more competitive?
Yeah, I mean, I had multiple sit-downs with Jimmy, with Cal, who's our president there, and, you know, diving into, okay, you know, here's where we are, right? I mean, we see it. We don't ignore the fact. And how are we going to get to where we want to be, you know? So it was laid out to me well enough that I felt good about coming back, you know, that there was a plan in place. There was some people that were in the works of being hired that weren't quite done yet when I was redoing my deal. Some are there now, some are still coming in. Obviously there's contracts in place and, you know, people got to finish their obligations out, but, you know, there's enough people coming in that I felt confident to see improvement on our end, and then also what I think TRD has been doing on their end to, you know, start to give us what we need. You know, we've kind of got at this point a good list of items that we feel like we need and what we have and need to be better to run better. So, yeah, there were definitely multiple conversations of that. You know, I don't think anybody involved wants to run, you know, how we have. You know, we want to be a race-winning team, and so there's a longer road to get there currently, but I think we've got plans in place to make it work.
All right, we're actually going to wrap up with Lee right now.
Lee Spencer, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio and CatchFence.com. Looking ahead at Darlington, you are so proficient at that track, and I'm wondering, what is it about the Lady in Black that makes you so good there? And can the driver make up the difference? If you're not really feeling it with the car, can you personally make up the difference at that track?
A little bit. You know, I think it's probably less than it's been ever, you know, with the next-gen car. It's just tough because everybody's so close. You know, there's maybe a bit more you can do there just because you're saving some tire and you're moving the line around so much. There's some different there's more options there than a lot of places that we go. You know, to say it's, it's just not, I'm not going to say, yeah, it's all driver. I mean, that's just not true. So, you know, yeah, you can make a little bit of a difference. I don't know why. I don't know. I've always felt comfortable at the track. You know, as soon as I got there for the first time in Xfinity, I really liked it. It reminds me a lot of how I grew up racing, which is a lot more kind of racing the track, and not necessarily racing, you know, your competitors as much. You're just kind of focusing on yourself. And if you're taking care of your equipment and taking care of your car, you know, you're probably going to find yourself in a good position if your car's, you know, good that day. So, I mean, I've definitely had some bad cars at Darlington. It's, you know, not like we've went there and ran top 5 every time, but for sure in this 500 coming up, we've definitely trended to run better depending on how things went. I think some of it's transition day to night. I really enjoy the spring race at Darlington. Honestly, I don't run as good at. You know, it's really a different race with the way you got to run it. So the 500 for me has always been the better one.
Awesome. Thank you, Eric. Good luck this weekend.
Thanks, guys.
All right, there's the checkered flag. Great job, driver.